Good morning. On behalf of the Sanford Board of Trustees and faculty, I am honored to welcome you to the 88th Sanford School Commencement, a tradition here since 1937. If you had a chance to join us at Class Day this year, I predicted at the end of the ceremony that we'd have 75 degrees and sunny weather. You're welcome. This quad, this amphitheater, this rebuilt stage, all due to the hard work of our Buildings and Grounds team, many of whom you probably saw when you're parking your vehicle or in back of the auditorium today. Can we give them a big round of applause? We not only needed to do that work, but we needed to have space for this class, 80 students strong, the largest in Sanford school history. And space for all of you so that you could be here to celebrate with us today. Joining me on stage this morning are Jason Russell, President of the Board of Trustees, the head of our upper school, Abby Smith, and Jeff Molish, performing arts teacher who has been selected by the class to deliver today's commencement address. Our tradition, big round of applause for those people today, right? Our tradition at Sanford School is to have our faculty from all three divisions participate in the processional at commencement. We do this to acknowledge the important role that each faculty member has played in the development and nurturing of our graduating class. I'm so very proud of this group of all-star teachers that we have at Sanford. Can we please recognize them? I would also like to thank our parents and families who have joined us on this Sanford journey. Whether you have been at Sanford for 1 or 2 years, or up to 14 years, or in some cases, many more than that, I was telling a parent today, don't do the math on how much tuition you've paid. That'll depress you. We're here to have fun today and celebrate. We thank you for choosing Sanford, for your family, and for trusting us with the responsibility to teach and care for your children during this critically important time of their lives. I'd also like to take a moment of silence for the parents and grandparents and family members of our senior class who have passed away. While no longer with us in this world, all of their spirits live on in our hearts and thoughts, and they are still very much with us today. Thank you. One of the great Sanford traditions is the involvement of our graduating class in our year-end ceremonial events. Seniors audition for the right to deliver speeches and to perform in the spring at each of our ceremonies. On Blue Gold Day, on May 24th, we heard excellent speeches by Scarlett Helmecke and Andrew Taylor. On May 31st, at Class Day, we heard terrific speeches from Quinn Kelly and Lane Powell. And this week, we heard Victor Lowell at our parent-student dinner. Let's give Scarlett, Andrew, Quinn, Lane, and Victor our big round of applause. Today we will hear speeches from 2 seniors and 2 musical pieces performed by 7 other seniors. And at this commencement, the class of 2024 will once again, and for one last time, show us why Sanford School is the place where no talent lies latent. I now invite Rai Kalan to come forward for our first student address. Rai?
I appreciate the invitation to speak today at our commencement ceremony. Fellow seniors, it was around 12 months ago when we embarked on this journey on first day as the last step of high school together. It has been an incredible 4 years of friendship woven around the framework of academics, arts, and athletics, and I am immensely grateful all 80 of us have been on this journey together. When I started to think about my remarks for today, I started to reflect on my memories and kept going back to an influential book from my childhood, but not for the reasons you might guess. We've all had our favorite books growing up. For some of us it was Cat in the Hat, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, Goodnight Moon. And I love those books, but for me, I vividly remember my mom and I reading and rereading The 7 Habits of Happy Kids. This is the elementary school version of Stephen Covey's bestseller, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Not surprisingly, because I read the book over and over again, many of the habits have stuck with me. Habits like always look for the win-win situation have helped me navigate group projects, and habits like put first things first gave guidance on how to prioritize assignments in high school and will let me know in college when I should spend a night writing an essay or hanging out with my friends. There is, however, one habit that I would like to humbly take issue with Mr. Covey over, and that is habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. While the advice to begin with the end in mind can hold immense value in goal setting, looking back over our high school journey and looking ahead into our academic and career paths that lie ahead, this habit should not be applied blindly. In early 2020, as our parents signed our Sanford high school contracts, we began with the end in mind, and the goal was a fun, fulfilling high school experience with all of us. Earlier in the year, touring Sanford's beautiful campus cemented in my mind that the next 4 years will be spent walking around Sanford's grounds between tables, talking around the collaborative tables in Stephen May, doing labs in math science, and playing for Sanford's sports teams in the sports center. We were all hoping to meet a new set of friends and add to the current friendships we already had. I personally was looking forward to taking a woodworking class and working in the photography darkroom, but the start wasn't anything like a typical freshman experience. Most of us worked in the in-person mode, but several of us were learning remotely. At the time, it wasn't possible to begin with the end in mind because even the present was difficult to plan for. We couldn't even picture if we would be able to gather for this very graduation moment. As the virus mutated around the world, each one of us had our own personal definitions of struggling and thriving. While adapting to the new ways of learning and finding creative solutions to stay connected, we each wrote our own unique path that was different than what we had imagined. In that uniqueness, we actually had a collective freshman experience, that of an ever-twisting path that stemmed from the end not being clearly visible. In Ross Geller's words, pivot, pivot, pivot was the call of the day, and the advice to begin with the end in mind seemed futile. After the wild ride of freshman year, we settled into being in class together, now with a bit more of a clear image of what we wanted high school to look like. However, whether it was aiming to join Sanford Performing Arts, play varsity sports, excel in academics, or engage in community service, our experiences still took unexpected turns. Our plans sometimes changed after we experienced an injury during sports, got a bad grade, or maybe didn't love a class that we thought we'd like. And hopefully these changes precipitated into an exciting but different direction. And now, crazily, we prepare to exit Sanford's sunny hills as graduates. To explore and enjoy should also apply to our future academic studies and career aspirations. Some of us will go to college with the end in mind, with clear ideas of what we want to be, becoming engineers, artists, basketball players, or entrepreneurs. Of course, when one starts the season on any sports team, the end goal is the state championship or the state playoffs. But we can never predict an injury to a key player that reveals a new game plan, or a forced buzzer beater shot that we win the game with. The reality is that paths often change, and beginning with the end in mind can hinder our growth. When we are too focused on the end, we may miss opportunities because we weren't amenable to change. For me, new exposure through senior projects and the capstone has led me to relook at the own rigidity of my own career goals and be open to a more exploratory path. Since we can't know that the changes we make today in order to investigate options are merely detours or complete changes in course, but we should remember that this is okay. Today's world is evolving rapidly, and we students are told that we are preparing for jobs that haven't even been created yet. Therefore, rather than aspire to a predefined path and begin with the end in mind, we should nurture that mindset of adaptability that we practiced in 9th grade. This will enable us to embrace opportunities that may not exist yet and carve out unique pathways to passions still unknown. Beyond our professional career paths, schools prepare us to become members of society. We often hear that America's strength is its optimistic ability to innovate, but innovation doesn't come if one begins with the end in mind. Instead of focusing on getting to the solutions part quickly, we have to spend time pondering different problems. What problems surround us? Who is affected? How significant is the issue? And what is our ability to solve it? As we graduate into a faster-paced world, many of us will rush into finding solutions to these questions at the expense of spending time for deeper exploration of the root causes and alternative perspectives. By embracing the importance of pondering different issues instead of focusing on solutions, we can cultivate a more thoughtful and informed approach to addressing challenges in all aspects of life. This concept of the freedom of exploration and adoption of a growth mindset is not nearly as daunting to a Sanford graduate. This is because our classrooms were led by teachers who are dedicated to learning, excited by their subject areas, and skilled in how to communicate both the knowledge and the excitement around us to us. Our Sanford classrooms buzzed with discussion, and the concept of white, black, and gray areas were welcome. Our teachers have fostered in us skills in critical thinking, creativity, and innovation by encouraging us to question assumptions and consider a wider range of possibilities. Sanford faculty trust the students they lead and have helped usher us into adulthood. They have taught us that tests and assessments are important ways to identify gaps in knowledge, but they're not the end goal. Learning is. So while the habit of beginning with the end in mind may hold value in certain contexts, it's essential to recognize the limitations of this habit when taken literally. Problem solving and other successes happen when we are curious, creative, and willing to challenge assumptions and explore alternative perspectives. We should endeavor to have patience for the unexpected, and if we do, magic can happen. To our amazing faculty, I'm so grateful for you to giving us this gift. To the administration and staff, thank you for facilitating the structure that allows this type of learning to happen. To Ms. Giobaldo and the admissions team, thank you for your part in crafting the class of 2024. To our parents, family, and mentors who have supported us through this eventful journey, thank you. And most of all, congratulations to the class of 2024 at Sanford. I have learned so much from being a part of this class. Stay resilient, enjoy the journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Very well done. Our first musical selection will be performed by a talented group of seniors. All of the seniors from our concert choir, in fact. I invite to the microphone one last time Finley Anderson, Annabelle Bagden, Sean Kaiser, Kat Shapiro, Lily Tomeo, Amelia Sue, and Patrick Young. Thank you all. It is now my pleasure to call Morgan Wilson to the podium for our second student address. Morgan?
Good morning, seniors, faculty, and loved ones. I'd like to start by saying that I'm honored to have been chosen to speak today. I'm so grateful for all the support throughout the 4 years of classes and countless teachers that have led me to being here today. And I especially want to thank everyone who has supported me over the last few weeks with the writing process of this speech. When I sat down to start brainstorming for this speech, I ran into a minor problem. I had absolutely no clue what to write about. I could speak to all the hard work we've put into sports, school, theater, maybe some corny stuff about friendship or camaraderie, but all of my ideas were so cliche and I couldn't develop them into anything special. Thankfully, after a week or two of racking my brain, a little light bulb finally went off. I had been thinking about talent, specifically that all of my natural Englishy abilities seemed to be failing me, when an adage that my mom always told me tiptoed out of my memory. Quietly, her voice whispered in my brain, "Morgan, natural talent only takes you so far. Your discipline and your passion will take you farther." I was reminded of how, for the longest time, I limited myself to only doing things that I excelled at. I mean, yeah, I worked hard, but when I struggled too much, I just gave up and moved on. I won't pretend that this is some profound and unique experience. In fact, I'd say it's nearly universal. However, as I've grown at Sanford and have seen everyone else grow around me, I've noticed that I've become surrounded by people who have slowly stopped paying much attention to talent. In fact, many of my peers seem to have set aside talent completely to pursue their own interests. For those unfamiliar with Sanford, we are required to play a sport in lieu of a gym credit, and this winter, around 50 students exemplified this by trying basketball in addition to their other co-curriculars. We ended up with 3 boys' 13 basketball teams filled with students who were ready to explore a new sport, work hard, even though it didn't land them on a varsity team. So it was with this in mind that I finally had an idea for a speech. I stand before you today, wholeheartedly ready to tell you that after 4 years, I've decided that the Sanford motto, "No talent lies latent," doesn't fully sum up the Sanford experience. It's a little windy. For sure, as I've spent the last 4 years at Sanford, I've seen the motto in action too many times to count. It happens all the time, somewhere in an art, tech, or STEM, or humanities class, the court, the pool, track, field, golf course, or stage. We all find at least a couple things that we're good at. It's basically impossible not to. Fulfilling even the bare minimum of our graduation requirements basically guarantees it. However, of the lessons I've learned here, both in and out of the classroom, I've never found that my pure talents, latent or not, are enough. I know that when we say no talent lies latent, we mean that at Sanford, we try new things, and along the way we discover that we're good at some of them. By the time we graduate, we have grown into well-rounded people, ready to use the arsenal of talents that we've acquired wherever life after Sanford brings us. However, talent, while valuable, is often merely a stepping stone to better experiences. It gives us direction as we make the more important discovery that lies hidden in all of the required classes, sports, and extracurriculars: passion. And this is what really sums up the Sanford experience: a search for talent and a discovery of passion. Yes, it's not letting your talents lie latent, but it's also continuing to grow them into meaningful experiences. Half the time, this process ends up taking you in a completely new direction, straying so far from talent that you realize you don't need to be good at something to love it. One of my favorite examples of this is my absolute disaster of a first AP Chem test. I had coasted from Honors Bio and Honors Chem into the class, but to give you an idea of how awful I did on that test, I'll just put it out there that I cried for the next hour in AP Physics. Or Honors Physics, sorry. I would have never thought in that moment that AP Chem would be my favorite class. At Sanford, I easily discovered a natural talent for memorizing things, and I'm grateful that it led me to the more difficult classes I took. However, I'm also grateful that this talent completely failed me when my classes went beyond memorization. This pushed me to look deeper into what I was learning, and it allowed me to surround myself with teachers who were just as interested in teaching the course as they were passionate about explaining why it was applicable. I'm glad that I was supported when I struggled with fluid structures, but learning about the environmental damage from forever chemicals will stick with me far longer than any bad grade did. The best thing about Sanford is that this happens all the time. It's easy to find students in art rooms during break making masterpieces, alongside students making weird little lopsided clay sculptures simply because they discover that they enjoy it. On the swim team, screaming next to my teammates as our boys 400 food relay beat friends made me lose my voice, but so did cheering for someone about to take last place as they finished their first 500. Obviously, this is by no means meant to downplay our accomplishments that are more than funky little clay creations and new races and B-minuses. In fact, I think that those of us that are recognized for our accomplishments at the state, national, and international level embody this best. After all, no one starts out the best at what they do. No Talent Lies Latent isn't just about aimlessly searching for some half-developed talent. It's a continuous pursuit of improving them. It's about having the discipline to push yourself where talent runs out. Excuse me. And moving forward anyways. The most accomplished people at Sanford, whether they've won awards or PR'd for the 5th time in a row, are the ones that have discovered what their passions are and push themselves to refine them. As we continue to bring No Talent Lies Latent into our daily lives, remember that our Sanford education pushes us to go beyond its motto. Yes, of course, let no talent lie latent. Take advantage of every opportunity to try a new experience, and find and use all of your talents that may lie hidden in them. Spend time becoming familiar with them and refine all of the talents you discover and might have already discovered. But along the way, remember we've been taught to do more than just acknowledge and wield our talents. Relying solely on talent prevents growth, but it can be one of the keys to discovering what you're passionate about. Pay attention and let none of your passions go unnoticed. Most of all, don't disregard them because they don't magically reveal some new talent. Embrace the struggle and learn from it. Explore your love for the world, make friendships, take a new class, try a different sport, fail, try again, and let your passions drive you forward. Most importantly, cherish it the whole time. I'd like to conclude by thanking all of the people that have mentored, supported, and inspired the class of 2024. Teachers, thank you for always making the time to be there for us, academically and just for life in general. Sanford administrators, thank you for all of the time and effort you've put into making this school as wonderful as it is. To the buildings and ground team, thank you for working all year to renovate the quad to accommodate all 80 of us. Parents, thank you for everything you've done for us to be graduating today. Whether it's relinquishing some free time to watch a theater production or taking the time to support us through all the high school drama, know that we're grateful and we've noticed your sacrifices. I'd especially like to thank my parents and the rest of my family for supporting me throughout high school and also for listening to this speech about 30 times. Lastly, thank you to the other Sanford classes who have helped us realize that life goes beyond just being good at things. Sanford seniors, let none of your talents lie latent and let none of your passions lie hidden. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize Morgan and Rye one more time on that. Our second musical selection will be performed by a talented pair of seniors. You've already seen them with the group. Coming up for a duet are Sean Kaiser and Lily Tmail.
Many much I know is true. That God bless the broken road and let me straight to you. I think about the years I've spent just passing through. I'd like to take the time I've lost and give it back to you. But you just smile and take my hand. You're the one to stand. It's all part of this random land that is coming true. And every long lost dream led me to where you are. Others who broke my heart, they were just northern stars, pointing me on my way into your loving arms. This much I know is true. That God bless the broken road and let me straight to you. Oh, straight to you. Hey, yeah. Whoa. Now I'm just running home into your loving arms. This much I know is true. That God bless the broken road and let me straight to you. Yes, God bless the broken road and let me straight to you.
Good to the last note there. And through the wind and everything. You come outside, I promised sunny and 75. I didn't say wind free. So we are outdoors and there's bumblebees and wind and we take it all. We celebrate it all. Each year, the graduating class selects one faculty or staff member to deliver our commencement address. This year, the seniors honored Jeff Molish, performing arts instructor, by asking him to make that address to the class. There's a saying, "You can't go home again," based on the title of a book by Thomas Wolfe. Today's speaker is evidence to the contrary of that statement. Some of you may know that way back in 2015, we invited Jeff Molish, or we interviewed him. We invited him to interview, but we didn't hire him. Sorry, Jeff. We chose someone else to fill that spot almost 9 years ago. That person wasn't a good fit for Sanford School. Unfortunately, we had to make a hard decision and said, okay, we have to make a change. But fortunately for Sanford, Jeff Molish was still on the market. So he joined us mid-year in 2016, and from the get-go, to use musical terms he'll appreciate, Jeff Molish was in tune and on beat with Sanford. Then in 2021, his story took another interesting turn. I'm stealing a little bit of your thunder, I know, because I read your speech. Jeff chose to leave Sanford, much to my chagrin. He wanted to teach public school. marching band and proximity to his home in Philadelphia, they were just too powerful a draw for him. So he left us. But then his story took another interesting turn. Jeff missed Sanford a great deal, and our school missed Mr. Molish. Fortunately, Jeff returned last year in 22-23. Similar to reuniting with an old friend, it was as if Mr. Molish had never left. I often remind students and young alums that our paths, kind of like the song we just heard, both academically and in life, are often not linear. I hope you all know, graduating seniors, that you can always come home again to Sanford. Please welcome and joining me to the podium, Jeff Molish, our 2024 commencement speaker.
Good morning. Before I get started, Mr. Maley, are you here? No, good. Mr. Simons? Cool. MJ? Right there. Any other Mikes or Michaels in the audience? Can I get a hand wave? 1, 2. Okay, that's mic check. Okay. Hello, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Russell. It gets better from there. Mrs. Smith, students, parents, faculty, staff, friends, family, and everyone here to honor the class of 2024. And to my advisory, the militia, I'll give it to you one last time. I just work here. Perhaps it was preordained that I would have the honor of attempting to impart some pearls of wisdom to the 80 seniors seated on this beautiful new stage, as it was 18 years ago today that I was graduating high school. Maybe not today, but 18 years ago. The same year that many of you were born, exactly half of my life ago. Pause for disbelief. Thank you. And English teachers, you might have caught my use of preordained a few sentences back. I did my best to beef up the vocabulary for this speech, and I think it's safe to say that it's going enormously. So when I was writing this speech last night, a month and a half ago, I landed on what I wanted to focus on: time. There's not enough of it in the day, but oh my God, how are there still 25 minutes left in this class? It's been sung about by Cyndi Lauper, Pink Floyd, Cher, Green Day, The Beatles, Coldplay, and Harry Styles. It's been written about by H.G. Wells, Madeleine L'Engle, Kurt Vonnegut, Stephen Hawking, and Isaac Asimov. It's been explored in movies like Interstellar, Inception, Back to the Future, Edge of Tomorrow, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Hot Tub Time Machine. Time allows for friendships to blossom, for skills to develop, for hard work to pay off, and for love to grow. It provides our deepest joys, causes our greatest pains, and heals our harshest wounds. It is impartial, unfeeling, objective, and absolute. It is our greatest ally and our fiercest rival. And it is the most precious commodity that we have in this world. If you take one thing away from me today, it is this: don't waste it. That isn't to say don't go on your phone, don't play video games, don't sleep in, don't spend an entire day on the couch watching Netflix, or don't stay up all night hanging out with your friends. But my charge to all of you is to be present in as much of that time as you possibly can be. At the ripe old age of 36, I stand, often with great effort and some grunting, at an interesting point in my life. My first child, Desmond, was born last summer. I look forward to seeing him and any other future children I have grow old and live up their lives. I look forward to teaching the next group of Sanford students, to growing old with my wife, and to eventually celebrating a 76ers championship from the comfort of my golden space yacht orbiting Mars. It's gonna take that long. At the same time, I often think of myself in high school and even before, a childhood raised on Ninja Turtles, Pokemon, and N64, and to my own high school years of discovering that I was a much better trombone player than basketball player, although I did average 21 high fives my sophomore year. I found myself doing the same thing with this class of seniors, 33 of whom I taught in middle school, almost half the class, and yes, I counted. Some of my advisees and I were reminiscing about their days in 7th and 8th grade band during our last advisory session. It was me and Antonio and Sam. Listen to this squad that we had there. A percussion section of Braden Powell, Brady Bowman, Sam Banter, Jordan Spencer, and Chris Grant, with Joel Winter, Luke Philbin, and Antonio Amir right in front of them in the back row. That's a murderer's row right there. If memory serves, we instituted a push-up policy anytime anybody dropped their drumsticks when they were trying to do a fancy twirl. I remember a 5th grade general music class with Bella, Amelia, Caroline Moore, Scarlett, Adam, Brady Coleric, Cam, Chloe, and a bunch of others all crammed into the tech lab together. And a history of pop class for which Lucas still hasn't turned in his final paper. Lucas, I still need that at some point. But now they're seniors, and there are future educators on this stage, doctors, lawyers, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, and so much more, about to begin their journey to the next stage of their lives. I tread that line of past and future almost every day, as does every teacher. To impart knowledge and experience while trying to connect to younger generations is the eternal struggle of the educator. It was during my first semester at Sanford, when a student used the term throwing shade, that I experienced my first existential crisis. I didn't know what that meant. I realized that I had to adapt, and quickly, to help foster that connection. Now, I don't want to sound chuggy, but now I slay the vibes with my drip, flex on all levels like a boss while keeping at 100, and low-key make everyone salty with my goated status, no cap. Thank you. For anybody over the age of 25, a translation of that will be provided when this gets uploaded to the Sanford YouTube channel. I also literally Googled how to pronounce chuggy. Big yikes. For some of us, the goal is to walk the line of old enough to seem experienced, but young enough to connect. It's easy to yearn for the past or worry about the future. It's hard to live in the present. But I promise you, it's the best place to live. To help illustrate my point, as Mr. Anderson already shared a little bit, I wanted to share a bit of my own Sanford journey. It started when I was contacted by a school in a town I had never heard of, in a state that I only went to 3 times to get to Firefly Music Festival and in order to get to Maryland. That's pretty much it. But it was a teaching position, and I didn't have one yet, so I took the interview, got turned down, and then got called again by Mark around Thanksgiving to see if I was interested. I was. So I arrived at Sanford in early January 2016, not knowing how spoiled I was, and enjoying basically everything about this job other than the commute from South Philly. But in the back of my mind, this was just my first job, my stepping stone job, for the eventual public high school marching band job I was destined for. And in 2021, I accepted such a position, sad to leave Sanford, but excited for what I always believed was my end goal. Before that school year even started, I knew I had made a mistake. I spent most of my time there wishing that I had never left Sanford after spending 6 years at Sanford thinking about the job that I now held. I wasted a lot of my time here, not appreciating what was directly in front of me. Mercifully, and thanks to Mark and the Sanford community, I found my way back to what were the greener pastures all along. This journey brings me to my first quote, and actually I saw this in Emory Gets His Yearbook on Wednesday, so nice work, Emory, from Ed Helms as Andy Bernard on The Office. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you've actually left them. Seniors, today is probably the last day you will see most of the people here. You'll say you'll visit Sanford, hang out with your friends during breaks, and keep in touch. Some of you will. Many of you won't, and that's just fine. You'll meet new people in college, lose touch with most of them, and then make new friends, and continuing the cycle. But whether or not you've known your peers and your teachers for 1 semester or for 14 years, they have all had an impact on your life and helped shape you into the person that you are right now on this stage. Things will gradually get more complicated and busy and demanding as you navigate into the real world. It might not seem like it, but you're in the good old days right now. Don't waste them. That brings me to the movie Soul, which I'm about to spoil, but it's been out for like 4.5 years, so you know. Soul is about Joe, a jazz musician and middle school band director who, after a near-death experience on his way back from an audition, journeys through the great before, where he meets 22, a soul preparing for life on Earth by searching for her purpose. After a day in Joe's body, experiencing normal, everyday things for the first time in her life, 22 suggests that her purpose might be skywatching or walking. Joe tells her, those aren't really purposes, 22, that's just regular old living. And that's the entire point of the movie, and also the entire point of the speech. Joe's dream, his purpose, was to be a legendary jazz piano player. And he eventually re-inhabits his body, gets to the gig, crushes it, and then feels completely unfulfilled. He heads home and reflects on his day, his journey with 22, and his life up until this point. He had always wondered what he could have been, or what he could be, never what he is. Joe viewed himself as a failure, but his only true failure was missing out on the present. His day with 22 changed his outlook, and when asked at the end of the movie what he would do with the rest of his life, Joe replies, I'm not sure, but I do know that I'm going to live every minute of it. Now, seniors, I know what you're thinking. Easy for me to say. I've already achieved the American dream of telling middle schoolers not to put drumsticks in their eyes, or letting all of you think that I don't know which of you have your cell phones out on your music stands. I know. You've spent 14 years preparing for this day, and you're going to spend the next 4 or more preparing for the next big one. We are burdened with expectations from a young age, and it may feel that your path is laid out in front of you like a red carpet that you have to follow. That's often how life works, milestone after milestone, always looking towards the next big thing. But in between those milestones, I want you to try something much harder than graduating high school, graduating college, getting your first job, or really anything else in the checklist of life. I want you to realize that every second of your life, from the moment that you wake up until the last thought you have in your head before you fall asleep, is significant, real, and incredible. Every day there are countless moments that define what it is to live. For example, I eat 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch at least 4 or 5 times a week. I've been doing that since elementary school, and I love that first bite every single time. I go grape jelly, but smooth, but slightly crunchy peanut butter on wheat bread, no cut, for the record. We can debate that later. But there are also the non-routine but still everyday things. Smelling the sidewalk after it rains, seeing some cool bug, hearing an absolute banger on the Wawa music playlist, getting your favorite lunch option in the dining hall, nailing a perfect high five with a friend. Try to find just one of these moments a day and just take a few seconds to really notice it. They are every bit as much a part of you as your goals, dreams, and plans. They are what it is to be alive. In fact, if you'll indulge me, let's try it now. Not just you guys, anybody that wants to, please join in. Close your eyes. Listen. Listen to the wind in the trees, that blue jay, that baby. Smell. Maybe you smell the overpowering Axe body spray on the person next to you. Maybe it's your corsage. Maybe it's the fresh new suit you're wearing. Open your eyes. Find your family or your friends in the audience. Audience members, find your kids on stage. Look at the trees, the sky, and look at each other on the stage. Find someone that's sitting across from you, maybe. You haven't seen them yet. This might be the last time you see that person. And if it's not, this moment will not happen again. I can't summarize my thoughts better than one of the wisest people I know and a personal hero of mine, Gandalf the Grey. When the Fellowship of the Ring is deep in the minds of Moria and hope is dwindling, Frodo tells Gandalf, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had ever happened." And Gandalf's perfect reply is, "So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." Gandalf then proceeds to spend the next 2 days of his life fighting a fire demon after yelling one of the most iconic lines in movie history, "You shall not pass!" So it's safe to say that he was definitely living in the moment from then on out. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. That is all your life is, and only you can determine what you will do with that time. Don't waste it. Every laugh you share with your friends, every time your pet sits on your lap, every time you hit the snooze button and you get 10 more minutes in bed, every time you take your shoes off after a long day, every loss you experience, rejection you face, tear you shed, and doubt that enters your mind, and everything else, there's only going to ever be one of you who experiences what you experience, thinks what you think, feels what you feel, does what you do, and lives the life that you live. And I promise you that whatever path you take, nobody can lead that life better than you can. Congratulations to the class of 2024. Whether I advised you, you're one of my band kids, part of the sound booth crew, middle school student of mine, I taught you an elective, or even if I never had the pleasure of teaching you, I am so proud of every single one of you for what you have already done and what you are going to do. Now, go forward into a world that is ready for all the incredible, the great, and the absolutely normal, everyday, boring, amazing things that you will do. Thank you.
Yesterday, we held our annual end-of-the-year faculty and staff meeting. where I had the opportunity to recap the year with my colleagues and thank the people who deliver our Sanford experience each day. We also recognized milestone years of service, and we said farewell to the individuals who are retiring or departing at the end of this year. We also named our 2024 Endowed Faculty Award winners. These awardees are nominated by their peers and are recognized for their outstanding commitment to our students and to the school. The Stan Waterman Award for Excellence in Coaching was presented to our head girls varsity coach, who has already earned the parochial and private school Girls Coach of the Year, as well as the Delaware High School Girls Coach of the Year, Marissa Muller. The Paul Donovan Award, which recognizes an ongoing commitment to professional growth, was presented to our upper school counselor, Sarah Statinsky. The Sue and Andre Dagenet Award for Leadership and Education was presented to middle school teacher and the co-chair of our social studies department, Sarah Cushing. And the Lloyd Johns Award for Excellence in Teaching was presented to lower school teacher and pre-kindergarten teacher, Liz Christopher. I invite Marissa, Sarah, Liz, and Sarah to please stand so that we can recognize you again and thank you for all that you do in your leadership. Each year, Sanford designates a senior student as our top scholar. The Scholarship Award is given in honor of the class of 1939 and recognizes an outstanding student who has excelled academically each year in upper school while pursuing a challenging and well-rounded program of study. The top scholar should demonstrate an openness to all forms of learning and an investment in Sanford's whole educational experience. This year, it is my honor to call forward two recipients of our 2024 Scholastic Award winner, Andrew Taylor and Rai Kalan. Each year, the entire upper school faculty votes on our annual senior awards to be announced at commencement. The upper school teachers discuss and debate the merits and successes of our seniors in order to decide who best fits the criteria for each award. Our Sanford faculty take this responsibility of naming awardees very seriously. The seniors we will honor today with special recognition have distinguished themselves as scholars, leaders, and positive Sanford community members. The Head of School Award is given as deemed appropriate by the upper school faculty and the head of school in order to honor a member or members of the graduating class whose achievement and presence have been so exemplary that special recognition is in order. Like all of our awards, the Head of School Award is nominated and selected by the upper school faculty. Yes, the title of the award is Head of School, but like any smart head, I listen to my teachers, especially when it comes to these awards, because they know the contributions of our students better than anyone. Today's two Head of School awardees have certainly made significant contributions to their class and to Sanford. Both students are exceptional in the classroom. They're active and engaged all over campus. They're talented visual and performing artists and leaders among their peers and with younger students. Both are uniquely Sanford humble, even as they strive to discover their own personal bests in multiple arenas. I'm honored to present the 2024 Head of School Award to Jay Trask and Amelia Sue. Thomas McCarthy Award for Citizenship is presented each year at commencement in memory of Thomas McCarthy, class of 1940. It is awarded to the student who has always been a responsible and contributing citizen in every aspect of campus life. The key words of that description: responsible, contributing, in every aspect. This awardee lives those words. From the Sanford classroom to the athletic field, he carries himself with the seriousness that belies his age. His English teacher said that he demonstrates quiet diligence, absorbing ideas presented, fixing on those that resonate, and then applying them to his work. He has taken the most rigorous courses available to him, and he has shown excellence across multiple subjects. A perfect 4.0 plus student, he finished the year with the most APs taken at Sanford in the last 5 years. This awardee is a quiet leader who does the right thing regardless of who's watching. And for years I've asked Sanford students to do two things: be kind and do the right thing. This student epitomizes those values. It is my honor to present the 2024 Thomas McCarthy Award for Citizenship to Andrew Taylor. The Alumni Award is presented annually to the student whose participation in extracurricular activities has been most dedicated. Sanford has so much to offer, both with our academics and our co-curricular offerings. The 2024 Alumni Award winner has distinguished herself in both arenas. Yes, she's excelled in the classroom with a very challenging course load. However, it was outside of the classroom where she really stood out. A member of both the jazz and concert bands, an officer of our honor council, leader of the crew working backstage on Sanford theater productions, and a linchpin player on all student media. In each of these endeavors, this student demonstrated humility, calm, and grace that made her a value add to any activity in which she played a part. I'm very excited to present the 2024 Alumni Award to Megan Athan. Our final two awards are the Kenneth D. Jones Memorial Award and the Nancy Sawen Final Award. They are given to seniors who have shown outstanding qualities of leadership, loyalty, good citizenship, and who are always gracious in manner and considerate of others. They are named for former Sanford teacher Kenneth Jones and Sanford teacher, coach, head of school Nancy Sawen. As many of you know, each year Sanford enrolls a large number of 9th grade students who join our 8th graders who come up from our Sanford Middle School. Together, these two groups quickly bond and form a new freshman class, one that will be together for 4 years of high school. The class of 2024, as we all know, was thrown a very serious curveball. In the fall of their freshman year, about a third of the class was learning from home, and those who were on campus were meeting each other wearing masks. Obviously not ideal for any of us. There was one student who, despite learning from home, became well known among his classmates pretty quickly. His engagement over Zoom was uncommon, and as his teachers tell it, a bit infectious. But that Zoom engagement paled in comparison to what we saw over the next 3 years. This student might have lost his 9th grade year on campus due to COVID, but grades 10 through 12 were full of Sanford energy and spirit. He tried everything: soccer, track, theater. He started and led clubs here. This student soaked up all that Sanford had to offer, and in turn, he offered so much to our school. And in the spirit of no talent lies latent, you have never seen a person do the limbo like him. I am honored to present the 2024 Kenneth D. Jones Memorial Award to Victor Lowell. This is a first, so bear with me. We didn't rehearse this. This kid does the limbo like nobody's business. Mr. Russell, will you give me a hand?
Yeah, Victor!
In tuxedo and dress shoes. That was nothing. He could have done. Maybe we'll do that after the ceremony. Well done, Victor. Thank you. His mom asked me if I was going to be Ted Lasso again this year, and I said, no, I have something else in store, though. Of all the names at Sanford that we remember on campus with awards or buildings named after them, Ellen Cusson, Stephen May, Ashton T. Geipel, Jackie Pitts, the Sanford list goes on and on. Perhaps the name that most embodies the values of our school is that of Nancy Son, whose memory we honor with our final award. Nancy, by all accounts, was a remarkable woman, a Renaissance talent, a leader well ahead of her time. In addition to being Sanford's second head of school and the daughter of our founder, Nancy was a teacher, a coach, and a leader. She was an exceptional athlete, artist, writer, horseback rider. Nancy saw and truly lived our motto, deep into her DNA. I believe Nancy would appreciate our final two awardees a great deal. Like her, they are super bright, and they're accomplished students. They're also committed and successful athletes. These students have both carved out niches within their class in which to contribute and lead. These two seniors represent much of what the best of the class of 2024 is here at Sanford. One is an officer of the class as well as the president of our BSU. The other is a dedicated warrior athlete and a very talented visual artist. Both students cross over friend groups and help bind the class of 2024 together. Most importantly, like Nancy Son, these two members of the class of 2024 have made a significant difference here at Sanford. Look at that. I am pleased to present the 2024 Nancy Son Final Award to Angelica Martin and Emery Getz. Are you guys about ready to graduate? Yeah. We're almost there. We're almost there. Each year I have the privilege to say some brief remarks. You've already heard two outstanding speeches by students, an outstanding address from Jeff. But before we confer diplomas on the class of 2024, I have the honor and privilege of offering a bit of advice myself. Tyler Edwards asked me this week, Mr. Anderson, how many graduations have you led? And I didn't know how to take that. Are you saying I'm old or I don't? The answer is 20. This is my 20th graduating class. 13 here at Sanford and 7 at my previous school, Whitfield School in St. Louis. By my math, I've had the honor to officially confer high school diplomas upon around 1,400 graduates. And I think back to that first class at Whitfield in 2005. Those students are 38 years old now. Jeff, you could have been in that group, I guess. The world of 2005 was so much different than the world we live in now. The truth is, and I hate to say this, seniors, life was easier in 2005 than it is now. Recently, I read two books that I highly recommend that made me think about our senior class and how much the world has changed, and also what remains unchanged during my 20 years of headship. The first is a book called The Anxious Generation. It's getting a lot of publicity. You may have heard about it. It's written by a fellow by the name of Jonathan Haidt. Do you want to guess what The Anxious Generation is about? It's about all of you. The Anxious Generation. The author lays out all types of reasons for the rising anxiety that we're seeing among young people and the sobering research about its effects. Here's the short synopsis. It's this. This is causing anxiety among not just you, all of us. This powerful computer that we all hold in our pockets and the social media apps associated with them, this is the biggest difference in this author's mind, and I agree with him, between 2005 and 2024. Haidt shows in great detail how and why our phones, our connectivity, and the ease of posting and sharing and oversharing, what it has done to all of our brains, especially the brains of our teens and preteens. And again, I 100% agree with him. I'd like to test a hypothesis for you. Seniors, I want you to picture yourself 3 months from now. September, you're either at a new job, you're on a college campus, and you're brand new. You walk into your first class or into that first day of work, and you have 3 to 4 minutes to kill. And you're in a new classroom and you don't know anybody. What would you do? You take out your cell phone and you would look at it. And what you wouldn't do, most likely, is say hello to the person next to you or sit alone with your thoughts for a few minutes to gather yourself. And that is what I just want to point out, is that we are missing those moments when we are killing time with these devices. And I ask yourselves, and I ask, why? My guess is that rather than needing to see if your parents or your friends texted you or if anybody posted anything funny, we are using our devices as a crutch. And those moments are happening for us now. That's not even 3 months from now, to all of us. We sit and we scroll and we check. And ask yourself, what is so critical on this phone right now, in this moment, that I need to be looking at it? The answer is probably nothing. Nothing is that critical. We are turning to our phones to avoid the awkwardness of being alone, the awkwardness of meeting someone we don't know yet. The phone is an electronic barrier that's keeping us from connecting deeply with one another and even ourselves. The research is clear and it's sobering. What's supposed to make us feel connected actually makes us feel lonely, inadequate, and often depressed. Perhaps what bothers me most about what I'm reading in this book and realizing what I see among teenagers now is what we've lost. And it's the loss of moments. It's the loss of moments, kind of like Mr. Mullish was talking about, an appreciation of life and beauty. Those moments of thinking clearly. Moments of conversation, and yes, moments of boredom. So what's the so what? Why talk about this on graduation day of all things? My wife told me not to do this, by the way. I'm going to pull it together, Nicole, don't worry. If I could give you one piece of advice, it's to be countercultural. Put the phone away. Be present fully in your life. In those moments of boredom, be bored. In the moments with friends and family, be with your people. Hide the apps from your home screen. I did that. That works really well, actually. Take breaks. Be mindful of how you are using your tools and apps. In more ways to be countercultural, look people in the eye. Often. Learn how to have conversations. Read a book that has paper. Write a thank you note with a pen. Journal with whatever device you like. And embrace the awkward. Embrace the awkward, because that is life. Technology has changed us and it's changed our world, and that's not going back. I know that. It's not realistic to think that you are not going to have a phone. I have a phone. I just held my phone up. We are tethered to one degree or another to our devices. But we don't have to be super tethered. We get to decide how tethered we want to be. I don't want to be the old person wagging my finger, sitting off my lawn, or get off my lawn, or back in my day. Like I said, I have a phone, I have a computer, I even have an iPad. I'm even on Instagram. Mark_J_Anderson, if anybody wants to follow me. I'm no stranger to taking a selfie. Now I'm going to embarrass my daughter real fast. Who wants a selfie? I'll post that on Instagram later if anybody wants to see it. I'm not saying don't use technology. I'm urging you to use technology in the healthiest of ways, and that means less for most of you, most of us. Okay, anxious generation, as Jonathan Haidt calls you. I can't end on that note. It's too depressing. And I'm a glass half full person. And I'm bullish about life and your lives and what you as Sanford soon-to-be graduates are walking into. Because the second book I read was titled How to Know a Person by David Brooks. He writes columns for the New York Times, also writes some good books. Brooks's book is hopeful and optimistic in ways that we can be better. Brooks's takeaway is about how we live our lives in communion with others, to be a force of good and to be additive for the communities to which we belong. Brooks is urging us to be illuminators of others, not diminishers. He wrote, "In every crowd there are diminishers and there are illuminators. Diminishers make people feel small and unseen. They see other people as things to be used, not as persons to befriend. They stereotype and ignore. They're so involved with themselves that other people are just not on their radar screen. Illuminators, on the other hand, have a persistent curiosity about other people. They have been trained or have trained themselves in the craft of understanding others. They know what to look for and how to ask the right questions at the right time. They shine the brightness of their care on people, and they make them feel bigger and deeper, respected, lit up." According to David Brooks, illuminators are masters of, among other things, tenderness, respect, curiosity, and generosity. Those are values that I could have spoken about at my first graduation 20 years ago, because they are timeless. Class of 2024, at your best, you have been illuminators. I have seen it. In the classroom, in the hallway, on our sports teams, leading morning meeting, gathering your class for events. I've seen it in moments big and small. You have illuminated Sanford, and you have illuminated one another. Seniors, the real world is out there for you. Knowing people and knowing yourself without that distracting buzz in your pocket, I know will make you happier and healthier. When you leave here today, Sanford's 88th graduating class, the skills you've learned and the culture you've been part of these past 4+ years, those are the things that will set you apart in college and in your career. Be a good friend, sibling, son or daughter, and you will be an illuminator. Class of 2024, you are stepping off the stage today, prepared to be difference makers. You made a difference here at Sanford, there is no doubt. And we can't wait to see what you accomplish in this world that sorely needs 80 illuminators just like you. Thank you. I now invite upper school head Abby Smith to the podium to read the names of our 2024 graduates as our board president, Jason Russell, and I present your diplomas. Seniors, when you step forward, offer you a hearty handshake, as will Mr. Russell. Ms. Smith?
Antonio Abraham Amir. Finley Kathleen Anderson. Megan Kathleen Athey. Angelina Alexis Aubin. Annabelle Colette Bagden. Samuel Ryan Bainter. Owen Adair Barlow. Jacob Henson Belair. Isabella Nida Bennersley. Brady Michael Bowman. Caroline Boyle. Colton James Brooks. Adam Brownell. Alexandra Elizabeth Butler. Bridget Michelle Caldwell. Carly Marissa Cantagallo. Brady Roland Kolaric. Kaylin Rose Conway. Emily Elizabeth Cummins. Abigail Melissa Cuthbertson. Sophie Charisma Desai. Lucas Davini. May Ellis Draper. Rahul Nicholas D'Souza. Tyler Micah Edwards. Bailey Charles Evans. Derek Jonathan Dale Fernew. Luke Maximus Philippin. Donald Arthur Finney. Brady Matthew Fox. Ryan Cade Gagne. Ava Lynn Galasso. John Anthony Giordano. Emery Kathleen Getz. Tyler David Getz. Christian Lido Grant II. Ashley Lynn Grooms. Molly Elizabeth Handloff. Xiaohua Hu. Scarlett Ann Helmecki. Phoenix Hendricks. Henry Peter Hetrick. Michael James Hoban. Yisheng Huang. Edward Graham Jefferson III. Amenrai Singh Kalan. Beckham Charles Kashna. Sean Matthew Kaiser. Quinn Jeanette Kelly. Amelia Kopp. Morgan Olivia Krapanicki. Artist David James Lawson II. Victor Pietro Lowell. Angelica Slade Martin. Louis Alex McKay. Reagan Lynn Metz. Caroline Paige Moore. Olivia Jane Ofer. Varun Sai Papu. Braden Riley Powell. Lane Elizabeth Wilds Powell. Kyle Robert Ruby. Catherine Ann Claire Shapiro. Cameron H. Schur. William Henry Shriver. Corey Elliott Smallwood. Jordan Amari Spencer. Chloe Dylan Steiner. Henry Nathan Stenta. Andrew C. Taylor. Ryan Thompson Tisdale. Lily Tomeo. Ian Trask. Jay Trask. Alejandro Vargas. Morgan Elizabeth Wilson. Joel Thomas Winner. Amelia Christiana Shiu. Yihong Yao. Patrick Ryan Young.
The Sanford class of 2024, let's give it up. Another long-standing Sanford tradition at commencement is the ringing of our bell. To honor our newest graduates, members of next year's senior class, John Malloy and Eli Smith, will sound the bell 80 times, once for each member of the class of 2024. John and Eli. Thank you, John and Eli. That was perfect. To close our ceremony, I invite you to please stand for the singing of our school alma mater. You can find the words on the back of the program. We will then allow our graduates to lead our recessional out of the amphitheater, where they will form a receiving line, and we can greet and congratulate all of our graduates. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us today. Thank you for a wonderful year, and have a terrific summer.
Thank you.